So I'm going to attempt to explain what I'm doing here. So I'm just overlaying a ton of some yellow tan watercolor. This actually took about 9 hours altogether to make. I'm just going in, and while pieces dry, then I'm doing other pieces. You saw a second ago I pulled out the dryer, going in very lightly and just doing layer after layer after layer on the face. And I do have the reference picture hung up, and what I'll frequently do is take the paint color that I've mixed and I'll dab it on the actual picture that I've printed out so I can make sure that it matches. And it's slowly starting to come together. You can kind of tell what it is. When I'm actually doing the outline for the picture, what I do is I print it off, and then I have a clear clipboard which I lay it on top of, and I shine my lamp behind it, and I hang it up in front of the lamp, and I'll do a light tracing of the picture beforehand so that I'm not trying to freehand the whole thing. And the camera's about to fall. And I go in periodically with white, and it's still white watercolor, and I'll just go in and try to make the highlights if it gets too dark in one spot, like on the nose. I actually did this painting for someone that I went to school with that lives back in my hometown, and did it for $20, mostly just because I always need things to paint, but I can't ever think of anything, so I don't want to charge crazy amounts of money since it really just covers the shipping it over to them. But it's worth it because then I have something to actually paint. It didn't show when I painted the tree, but it took a long time to figure out how to do it, and I'm not very good at scenery, as you can tell, so I was really worried about painting the background. And I'm just going and putting little grass pieces, which I end up blending in a little bit, so they're just there kind of to give a little more texture to the background. And I'm still working on the face. I'm just letting all of that dry, focusing on the back so that I can make sure that one's not darker than the other, kind of start blending them together so it looks like a full picture. I spent a lot of time on the mouth itself. I pretty much just use the same colors throughout the whole thing. It's just a lot of overlaying and doing, like I said, just layer after layer after layer so that it doesn't look all wonky. It's consistent with the color, just different shades of it, and different darknesses. And I noticed the nose was getting a little bit too dark for the picture, so just adding more highlights that I'm going to end up covering up later on with the same gray color, but it'll help shine through a little bit. It doesn't look exactly like the picture, I'll be honest, but I was happy with the result altogether. And the camera's going to fall again. I don't know if you can hear it, but my fan just turned on in the background, so I'm sorry if you can hear it. I also apologize for my monotone. I can't do anything about that either. But hopefully it's not putting you to sleep. I was so worried about doing the trees, so I was practicing a ton. Even off camera, I was doing so much practicing because it's so hard for me to do scenery. And I was so proud of how it looked so far, I really didn't want to go fuck the whole thing up. So I spent a lot of time on that too. I don't even know if to most people you can tell it's a tree in the background, but it's supposed to be. But you know, art is up for interpretation, so it can be whatever you want it to be, okay? I really only use maybe like 4 or 5 different brushes throughout this whole thing. I have a ton of brushes, but I don't really use too many of them. And I just got into doing watercolor painting. Before I was doing mostly oil. But I found that I really, really enjoy the layering that you can do with the watercolor. I feel like it's a lot more forgiving. Don't get me wrong, I can do and enjoy the blending for oil, but I can't do, it's weird, I can't do portraits or anything on oil, but I've done some pretty decent Bob Ross inspired oil paintings. But I like how technical I can get with the watercolor. And I didn't do all of this in one sitting. It was maybe a week that I kept coming back and working on it some more. So this isn't all from one day. I'm really bad about dirty water though, as you can see. I don't think I'm incredible or anything, so if anyone's got some techniques or tips that they could suggest for like the backgrounds that I do or making it look more similar overall, I would love to hear them. And that is pretty much it.